Hi guys, it's Claire's, and this Sunday, since we're all home and everyone's pretty much probably run out of things to do, I've decided to do a live painting session. And I'm just setting up the camera. I have my sheet ready. I don't really have a plan, but I just felt like painting, and I said, let's just make it a live session instead. I have my water ready. I have my napkin ready, and then I just have my colors right here. I'm going to be using my number 8, number 4 in the Squirrel Mop brush. No, sorry, not Squirrel. This is the Silver Black Velvet. This is the Squirrel Mop brush in the 1, and then just the Princeton Neptune in the 8. I'm just going to keep them on standby. I might use them all. I might just end up not using them all. That is to be seen. If you guys want to join me for this, absolutely, please feel free. If not, you just want to watch, that's fine too. I just figured I'd make it live because it's Sunday and we're all at home doing probably not much, but just spending time with family. So let's begin. It's clear enough. Yep, it is. And okay. So I think the first things first, I've mentioned in most of my tutorials, I like to do the big florals first and then kind of flesh out the smaller ones that enhance it on the outsides and then kind of go into the greens. And it's all about taking advantage of when the sheet is damp. So to start off, I always do the centers. And for that, I normally use either the brush that I'm using to paint the petals or just the thinner number 4 for the insides. So let's just start off with the insides first for this variation, and I will orange for this first flower that I'm doing. So let's start, and here's me getting some of the brown, and I'm just gonna do the center. And I'm just dabbing it on really lightly because again, these are like loose florals, so they shouldn't be too detailed. And then I'm going to use my number 8 and get some of the yellow. If you can hear my kids, it's because they're downstairs and they've run out of things to do, so they're screaming quite loudly. I don't know if you can actually hear them or not, but I'm sure it's pretty similar in your households as well. All right, so I have some yellow in there, and now I'm just going to use the same brush without taking off any of the yellow and just get some of the orange. And I'm going to create the petals. And for these, I'm literally just going to start from the center, the same dotted technique that I was using for the actual center, and then from here just flesh out. And you can bring the color back to this to the middle, or you can leave it outside, it's up to you. And then just loose strokes all over. I'm going to do that this way. And now what I'm going to do, because you all know I love using two tones, so I'm going to introduce a darker orange. It's almost like a brick orangey brown, and just kind of dab while it's still damp in the middle. Just lightly here and there. So it's important that your paint have enough water but also enough color so you can see the blending happening. Okay, now I'm going to go back into this orange and just kind of very lightly create more petals. Not quite as light as I hoped it would be, but that's fine. So I'm going to leave this one as is, taking off more color and just using water. And if you feel like there's too much water, just use your paper napkin and dab to take it away. All right, and you have your massive floral. And again, if you feel like the center is too light, the brown is not as visible, just go back in. It's pretty dried up by now, so just go back in and add some. And that's totally fine if it blends in with some of the orange that you have going on. I quite like when it gives you that extra contrast, so then it really does make a difference in how the whole thing dries up. We'll wait for this to dry a little bit before we go back into highlight areas. But now I'm going to use my number 8, and I'll get one of my greens. Just have that green ready right there, and let's take another one. There's this green brown that I like to use. I think this is it. I'm gonna have to try it to make sure. Yep, that's it. And I'm just going to create, while this is still damp, create some leaves. And I want to get the color, the darker on the inside. So light outside, dark inside. And very loosely, just like. Enhance the insides, the stems. And I'm just going to leave it at that for now, and then continue with more florals. So the next floral I'll do is a rose, and for that I'm going to use, first I will use the number 4 to do the little curves and curls, and then I will use my Squirrel Mop brush in the one that I have to kind of blend it in nicely. So for this I'll use let's use a red. So I have my red ready. And I'm just going to get some of it nicely on this. And I'm going to lay it on right here. And I'm making C motions. C shapes or comma strokes, however you want to describe them. And I'm going to make sure I have enough color on here so it's nice and dark, because my next step is going to be crucial. Then I'm taking my mop brush and I am going to, with just water on it, I'm just going to create the C motions right here. C motions. Okay, you know what? Let's just go with C motions for now, since clearly as I'm painting and talking with you guys, this is what's coming to me. And so see how it like blends really nicely? And it's almost like that dreamy kind of look. I'm gonna go in and add more color to it, because otherwise it's gonna dry very, very light, and that's what we don't want. And so this is how you can do like your nice dreamy roses. And I will also incorporate some orange in it. I want to try and keep as much white space in between, just so we can have that nice light and dark. So don't try to not overdo it with the strokes. And there we go. This is like not like any of the other roses I've ever done before. Make make sure I don't have too much water on here. But I love the flow of the color and how it kind of just blends in. My issue normally when I paint is like I don't know when to stop. Anyone else experience that? Or is it just me? Like I literally want to just keep going because I love the blend, and then before I know it, I've overdone it. So I'm gonna try and stop right here. Next thing I am going to do is add more green leaves. I'm gonna let this dry and just add leaves to this little thing, painting happening. And it's nice to give it some direction as you're painting. And see how I have more color happening, so the edges are almost kind of dryish, and that's nice. I like when it has, you can clearly see a lot of water and flow of the color, but then you also have the dry versions of it. It's just a nice mix, in my opinion. I'm going to mix some of the other color just to kind of give it a nice variant. Here we go. So the other green that I have is more of a brown. So I'm just going to add it on the vein area of the leaf to kind of give it a different look, shade, dimension, whatever you want to call it. And then leave it at that. And you can see like the bright colors are really doing a lot for this piece. So then the next thing I want to do is I'll do one more floral and then kind of add some touch-ups to the outskirts of these because I like doing them in threes. Or actually, you know what, since I still have some red on this, I'm going to do like a baby bud here for this red rose. So just doing my C-shaped motions, I'm just creating a very loose version of a bud. And what did I use for, I had used this for my green. So I'm using my number 8 and just kind of getting the tip for this. I'm big on not wasting colors, so I kind of end up using the same. If I haven't washed the color off, I just use the same thing, so that's me. Just using this to add the tips for that. Possibly some more leaves. Kind of leave it at that for now. I'm just putting some orange here. I like the orange and the pink blend, or red, depending on how much color you use. Just looks so nice. I don't know, it's just one of my favorite combinations. Next thing we'll do is we'll do one more bulb sort of looking flower. Trying to think. Let's do it this time with the, I'm just trying to use all my brushes here. Let's do the number 8, and then for this one we'll do, let's do, I've done a ranunculi tutorial. Let's see if I can remember how to do that. It was, the center is green. and then the outskirts are like super light pink. So it's actually a very tiny center of green, and then there's the light pink. So I believe I have some pink going on here already, but I do remember getting some orange. So let me just make sure I get only the pink. And before I apply the pink, I'm going to add just a thin layer of water around it. I need more pink. This is getting too pink. Maybe the ranunculi idea will not work at this point in time. But if you are interested in learning how to do that flower, check out that tutorial of mine. It is on the YouTube channel. I'm just gonna run with what I'm doing right now, and let's just see what happens. This is normally how I paint, when I'm just like in the mood to paint, but I don't really have a solid plan or a composition in mind. I'm literally just doing this to relax or unwind, and just like therapeutic reasons, really, more than anything else. And usually I don't have to talk when I'm doing it, but for the sake of this live video, I am talking it through to give you guys an idea of what I'm thinking. I do kind of like how this is turning out. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments, or although I can't read anything right now, but I would definitely read it later and respond to you guys later. So I'm just using the same brush to kind of, with just water, blend the color out. And some of the blending is happening quite like that, which is not really what I wanted, but that's okay. Let's just leave it for now. And I'm going to try and stop doing the blending, so then we don't have a massively huge flower. Okay, so I'm going to leave it at that. And I'm going to try and see if I can get in some decent blending around here by adding it. Let's see how this dries up. All right, so just going to put more water on these ones here so they don't get too dark compared to the others, and leave that for now. Next thing I'm going to do is continue adding my leaves, and I'm just going to add a couple of leaves and then do the outer florals, see how that works. I'm just going to add some, I'll add some here. While this is still damp. And literally just the flick of your wrist and you're adding some leaves. And if they blend in with that pink or orange or whatever you have going on, oh, that's amazing. You want that to happen. You do want it to happen. So this is like, I love this green, hunter green or forest green or whatever you want to call it. But if you guys prefer the lighter green or any of your browner greens rather, like by all means, like use what you prefer. These are my go-to colors when I have to paint, so I always encourage to try your own. You don't necessarily have to use the ones I am using. let's experiment and find out what we like and what results we can get. It's all experimentation. So I'm good with this much greenery for now, so I'm gonna go in and add some enhancers, and for that I'll probably use, let's use some purples, or actually some blues might really help. I have this blue and it's very much like a blueberry blue. We could do some like berry type. Yeah, I kind of like it. So what I'm going to do is I will firstly go in and add some circular motion blues on here just to get those berry effect look, and leaving white space in between. And then I'm going to use this brush and just without any color on it, just create another circle on here. Oop, there's too much green on it and too much water, so I'm just gonna dab that off. Excuse. There we go. I'm gonna need a little blue at this point. And the reason I did that was just to pull from this super dark color and also to create some variation in the darkness of the blue. It's just nice when you're doing a light, loose style painting. Just gonna add one more. And what I will also do is add another darker blue on here, just to give it some variation again. So remember, make them loose, leave them loose, and then you can join them by adding what can be stems. Or not, you could just leave them floating. It's up to you, really. I like to add the stems just so I have it. And then what I will also do is, I hope this works out, but I like to do my little splashes. So I'm going to do that right here. Right around these. So I guess the bigger your brush is, the bigger your splashes will be. The smaller your brush is, the smaller it is. So you can take turns with 2 different brush sizes or just use this one. It's up to you. Then I'll also create these in another location. Let's just do it. Let's do it here. No, here. So these are going to be slightly quicker and faster because I don't want to do too many on here. Just darkening the stem area and the bottom and the top. And let's do one more. Oh, those are my baby elephants jumping downstairs. I don't know if you guys can hear them, but they are jumping. All right, so I'm going to leave that as is, and then I'll add one, because I like to do things in 3s. So I'll add one more location, but make it like, try and make it light or small so it's not too attention grabbing. And leave it that way. And now finally, I think I'll end off with using something that looks like something that looks like the Delphinium. Let's see what other ones that they have. And I'm going to do that right here. And using a purple, I'm going to first do these dabs of some nice bright purple in a direction that I want this floral to be in. And what I'll also do is just add a little bit of red to kind of give it a more wine purple look, as opposed to a purple that looks like these blues, indigo rather. Yeah. And then I'm going to use not the number 8, I'll use the number 8 in the Neptune. And I'm just going to water on it. I'll just making sure it's not too much water. I'm going to add more of these strokes. And what this does is it'll blend in nicely. Now I'm doing it like upside down. It'd be easier if you kind of just turn it up, and then this way you're able to better create these florals. But the whole idea is to put on your dark colors first, and then you go in and do the lighter shades. And then you can even go in with some green and just add some green on the inside to kind of connect. It's just hints of the green, you don't have to have a whole bunch of it. Does this make sense? Good. Yeah. And then I'll do it again on this side here, and I think this side would come out better just because I'm going to be doing it right side up. I'm just going to get some of that purple mixed up. Oh, this purple's come out a lot darker. Well, let's see what happens. All right, and now I'm going to go in with the 8 and just add my strokes. You know, I'm thinking because they're kind of so rigid looking and they should be a lot more flowy, if we use the mop brush, I think it would be a lot more fluid and organic in shape. To me, these look slightly stiff, but hey, we're just painting for fun. We're not trying to accomplish a whole lot here besides some I was going to say stress relief, but there's no stress. It's more of a therapeutic session. So let's not beat ourselves over trying to perfect it when we can always learn from this and grow. So next time I know when I'm doing florals like this, I can, for this bit, I should use my mop. And I kind of like how there's all that green going on there. So I'm just going to add more green to this one here. And then yeah, so we have that. And then I kind of like how everything is so far. You could add some smaller florals for another variation, or just add some of this orange by adding a like an orange bud for that over here, or two. And then going back in and doing your green. For it. So at this point, I'm just filling in areas for leaves just to make this whole painting look a lot more symmetrical, or just kind of finish it off rather. So if you want to do lighter looking leaves at the end, not going as dark, then it kind of gives it that fading off to the edges look. I should have gone lighter on these bulbs as well, but it's too late now, so just trying to see if I can add something here. Nope, it's dried, so it's okay. You can leave that as is, but just maybe go in and just do some light leaves at the end. So for instance, I could do something like just try to go as light as you can and as loose as you can as well. And if you don't want to add any more, you can absolutely end it. You don't have to kind of continue. I just want to add some tapering off leaves and such to it before I call it or declare it finished. Oh, slightly. I'm gonna add some here too. And some like super light ones here. And just give it some flowing direction. And so finally now, I think most of this is dried up. So what I would like to end off with is two things. First, just adding some additional layering on these, and then the second thing is just doing a little bit more of the splatter, maybe just in the blue areas. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use my mop, my Squirrel Mop, for adding highlights to these. So for this one, I'm going to use this orange, the darker orange that I had. I used two oranges here. This was the darker one that I had used. And I'm just going to very lightly add strokes like this around it. And if you can control the thickness of these strokes, then power to you. Because it would be nice to go thick and then super thin on the outsides, if you know what I mean. And then let it go and like don't overdo it. And then for this one now, this is going to be a little bit tricky. I would like to use like a darker red, and I think because I mixed some of the purple in this red, I think I have that. So let's see how this turns out. I think I need a little more purple. So I've just dipped my brush in the purple, I'm dipping it in the red, and I'm going to get a darker red. And I don't want to overdo it on this one because it's got that nice blending effect on the sides. It's just the center, I want to do it darker. And I'll probably leave it as this. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it that way. And then for this one, I don't even think I should touch it because it was supposed to be a ranunculus and it's gotten a little bit dark. We could highlight it and just call it another kind of rose. I don't know. Yeah, sure. Why not? Let's do it. Let's try it. It's not like it's supposed to look a certain way or we're supposed to follow a certain pattern. So I'm just going to try and do very light, thin, not light, thin strokes around. And loosely. And some darker ones on the inside. And just leave it that way. Now for the insides, you might want to go in and do darker green. I think I'll just leave it as is. It's okay. Maybe if I do just a tad like that and leave it. And then for the brown as well, I'll probably just, yes, just add some dots. Not needed really, but yep. And this is it, guys. So this is my session for doing very loose florals. This is typically how I would do it. Don't really have an idea of what I'm doing in terms of a plan, rather. I just kind of go with the flow, use the colors I like, I get inspired by, and run with it. Oh, actually, before I say bye, I did say we're gonna do the little splatter for the blue, so let's do that and then I can say goodbye. The blue that I have is right here. Just make sure that your outer areas are don't have other paintings, otherwise this might splatter on there. Or you're not wearing white, because that could be disastrous as well. I'm wearing gray. There we go. I kind of like how that is happening. It's got some on the rose as well, but it's okay. I don't mind it. If you want to protect your roses and other florals from getting the splatter on, I would suggest just kind of having something cover it once it's dry, of course. I'm just going to do some over here, tapering off, giving it some direction. And yeah, that's it. Great. So this is what I've come up with. I Hope you guys like it. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. If you've enjoyed this session, it was helpful, not helpful. As I said, this was like a live time, real time painting. So I tried to instruct as much as I can, but if I didn't, I'm sorry, guys. So happy Sunday. Thanks so much for watching, and we will chat soon. Bye.